Iqbal and the Western Philosophers by Dr. Nazir Qaiser. So Fichte and Iqbal, Schopenhauer and Iqbal, Nietzsche and Iqbal, William James and Iqbal, Bergson and Iqbal. So these are different philosophers where the author compared. Allama Iqbal was a well-read person. He had not only acquired a wide knowledge of both Eastern and Western philosophies, but also had developed a sympathetic appreciation of them all. Iqbal was inspired by some thinkers in the West, or even he borrowed various concepts of his philosophical system from one of them or the other. For example, it is said that he took his concept of ego from Fichte, of the perfect man from Nietzsche, of evolution from Bergson, and so on. This, absolutely speaking, is not correct. Nor, incidentally, would it be correct to say that the fabric of his views was entirely woven by Eastern ideas. For instance, those of Rumi, Ibn Arabi, and others. The writing of this book has put Dr. Nazir Qaiser under an obligation. The story of the elaboration of his basic thesis that Allama Iqbal was inspired neither by Western nor by Eastern philosophers, but by the Quran is only partially told by him. Iqbal's Mard-e-Momin has usually been compared to Nietzsche's Superman. When Allama Iqbal says that he read Nietzsche about 20 years after he had formulated the idea of his Mard-e-Momin. Some cursory readers go to the extent of regarding Iqbal's thoughts as an imitation of the Nietzsche, James, Bergson. Iqbal is a unique thinker in the sense that he is well versed with the Islamic heritage of learning and the modern science and philosophy. Schopenhauer says that the universe is through and through will. All spheres inorganic like stones and living beings like birds, animals and men are the manifestations of will. This all-pervading and universal will is manifested in ideas which assume objectification in individual objects. Thus, an individual man is phenomenal presentation or a copy of the idea of man as a species. But Iqbal does not consider man as the copy of eternal ideas. He considers the human ego as arm of God. Next, Schopenhauer's will is purposeless, blind and impulsive. But Iqbal's human ego is purposive. Rather, purpose is the core of life. The fundamental principle of Nietzsche philosophy is the will to power. In all creations, competitions, artistic creations, the basic desire is to get greater power. A living thing seeks above all to discharge its strengths. Life itself is will to power. Self-preservation is the only one of the indirect and most frequent results thereof. On the contrary, Iqbal considers mere power as capricious phenomena. He believes in both Jalal and Jamal. His concept of power is combined with elegance, tenderness and kindness. Nietzsche undoubtedly is a dynamic philosopher. He condemns the idea of segregation from society. He criticizes Christian monks who lead a segregated life. But Nietzsche is not the forerunner of this view. Iqbal believes in constant struggle, even the destination does not satisfy him. Iqbal loves tension and pain which come in the process of self-realization. Iqbal states that poetry, music and art are lifeless if they are not conducive to self-realization and cannot generate struggle and action. Nietzsche, the belief in the body is more fundamental. He says the belief in the body is more fundamental than the belief in the soul. The latter arose from the unscientific observations of the agonies of the body. Nietzsche believes that there will be no soul after death. The soul will be dead even sooner than the body. Nietzsche believes in eternal recurrence, which means that no person is lost after death. Not only man, everything will recur again and again after some interval of time. Everything goes, everything comes back, eternally rolls the wheel of being. Whatever is happening now will happen again and has happened before. The great things of the world recur, but so do the small. The recurrence of small things of the man farthest removed from the overman seems at first impossible for Zarathustra to accept. Iqbal says that the re-emergence of man will not involve his physical body on the day of resurrection. To him, resurrection is not an external event. He regards it as the consummation of a life process within the ego. Iqbal refers to the Quran. What when dead and turn into dust, shall we rise again? Iqbal also champions the cause of strength and power. But it is much different from Nietzsche's views of power. Iqbal's concept of power is not devoid of moral values. Iqbal believes in both Jalal and Jamal. Iqbal believes in waging war, but not in the sense of Nietzsche's view, which champions war only to get power and strength. Iqbal condemns Nietzsche for his lopsided view of power. Iqbal calls him a madman who went to a glass factory. Power is good, weakness is bad. Nietzsche holds that it is good which is powerful, and that is bad which is devoid of power. He says that in real life, it is only a question of strong and weak wills. Nietzsche puts forward his theory of master morality and slave morality. Nietzsche says that the master morality belongs to the strong man, whom he gives the right of becoming the ruling class. Slave morality, on the contrary, generates humility, pity, helplessness, which is begging for help. Real progress will come, according to the Nietzsche, not by raising the weak and emancipating the masses, but through the cultivation of a superior race of men. The superior man must rise above the masses, not sympathize with them. Nietzsche believes in aristocracy, which is a class of superior men possessing power and strength. Biologically, they are born as such. Nietzsche recognizes dignity only to them. He asserts not mankind, but Superman is the goal. Nietzsche equally looks down women, acknowledged weaker sex. He openly expressed his hatred against them. They only to give birth to children and are only source of recreation for the warriors and aristocrats. The solution to all women's problem is childbearing, and this is the only interest women ever have in men. A man needs two things, danger and play. Nietzsche brackets women with animals like cats and cows. Nietzsche asks women are only half human at best, more like cats or cows. Whereas Iqbal regards humanity with respect, acknowledges proper place for women, and recognizes contribution of the state or society for the development of human personality. Iqbal, a great believer of self-realization, had a great faith in man's capacities. With right ideology and action, all the human beings have open possibilities to develop inner potentialities. Superman is the most perfect aristocrat. The Superman recognizes only the material values. Religious or spiritual values carries no significance for Nietzsche. Nietzsche was atheist. Rather, he is the substitute of God who is dead, according to Nietzsche. Superman has no brighter future. He will return in the world after death as he is in the present being, according to Nietzsche's laws of recurrence. Unlike Nietzsche's Superman, who is atheist, Iqbal's perfect man is God-fearing and devoted religious man. This makes a fundamental difference. Faith in God goes a long way to develop human personality. The idea of the Superman runs through the Quran. Man is capable of an endless progress, and he will succeed in making himself master of the universe. The more he advances in his evolution, the more he resembles gods. He who knows himself knows God. Create in yourself the attribute of God. Finally, for both Rumi and Iqbal, the other name of perfect man is Fakhr. Thus, all qualities of Fakhr are found in the perfect man according to the Rumi and Iqbal. He is not an idle mystic. He is full of action. He earns lawful livelihood. He may be poor in appearance, but he is the owner of countless treasures. There is no greed to him. Rumi is probably the first Muslim thinker who has presented the picture of a perfect man. Personally, Nietzsche rejected all religions. In Nietzsche philosophy, Superman has taken the place of God. Nietzsche views devoid of morality and religion and criticized by Iqbal. For Iqbal, therefore, it was Nietzsche's lack of spiritual vision which drove him into a sheer failure. Nietzsche accuses Christianity for depreciating the body instincts, impulse and passion. Locating the cause of Nietzsche's hatred toward Christianity, Copleston says that it proceeds principally from his view of its supposed effect on man, whom it renders weak, submissive, resigned, humble or tortured in conscience, and unable to develop himself freely. It either prevents the growth of superior individuals or ruins them, as in the case of Pascal.